They were the most powerful empire in the galaxy. For thousands of years, no one dared to challenge them. They created the rules of war, and every species followed them without question. No attacks on civilians. No surprise strikes. No total destruction. War was controlled, clean, and predictable. And because of that, the alien empire always won. Humans were new, young compared to the ancient species, curious, emotional, and unpredictable. The aliens saw them as weak. They believed humans would learn the rules and obey like everyone else. For a short time, it seemed true. Humans traded peacefully. They explored slowly. They avoided conflict. The galaxy accepted them, but never respected them. Then everything changed. Far from the main systems, a small human colony was growing on a cold, distant world. It was quiet and unimportant. Or at least that is what the aliens thought. The Empire wanted that system. It had rare resources and perfect strategic position. But according to the rules, they had to declare war first. They had to give warning. This time they did not. In secret, the alien fleet moved through deep space. Silent and invisible. No signals. No warnings. No mercy. When they arrived above the human colony, the sky turned dark. People looked up and saw shapes they could not understand. Massive ships blocking the light of their sun. For a moment, there was silence. Then destruction began. Energy beams fell from the sky like fire. Buildings disappeared in seconds. Cities turned into ash. There was no defense. No time to escape. No chance to fight back. The rules were gone. Families ran into the cold wilderness. Children cried. Signals were sent in panic. But the fleet did not stop. It was fast and efficient, like they had done this many times before. Within minutes, the colony was gone. Only smoke and silence remained. Deep under the surface, a damaged communication station was still working. A single operator sat there, injured and shaking. He knew he would not survive, but he had one mission left. He activated the transmitter and sent a final message into space. His voice was weak but clear. They attacked without warning. They broke the rules. There was a pause. Then he whispered one last line. "Tell Earth." The signal traveled across the stars, through empty space, past silent planets, toward human territory. Days passed. The alien empire reported a successful operation. They expected no response. In their eyes, this was just another victory. Another world taken. Another species controlled. But something felt different. Some alien commanders were uneasy. One of them looked at the report again and again. No warning. No declaration. No rules. He spoke quietly to himself. Humans are not like the others. But no one listened. Far away, the message finally reached Earth. It played in a dark command room. Officers stood still as they listened. No one spoke. No one moved. When the message ended, the room stayed silent. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then one officer slowly looked up. His face showed no fear, no anger, only cold focus. He gave one simple order: prepare everything. And in that moment, something changed. Not just in that room, but in all of human space. There was no panic, no loud reaction, only silence. Deep, heavy silence. The kind of silence that comes before a storm. The galaxy was still following the rules. But humanity was not thinking about rules anymore. Because the day the aliens broke them was the day humans stopped being merciful. The galaxy expected an answer. After every war, there was always a pattern. A signal, a warning, a meeting. But this time there was nothing. No message from humanity. No demand for justice. No sign of fear. Only silence. Days turned into weeks. The alien empire waited. Their fleets stayed ready. Their leaders watched the borders. They believed humans would react like all others. First fear, then negotiation, then surrender. But humans did none of that. Instead, human space went dark. Trade routes closed. Diplomatic channels stopped. Exploration ships disappeared. It was like humanity had vanished. This silence was not normal. Even the oldest species in the galaxy began to feel uneasy. They had seen many wars, but never this. One alien commander stood in front of a star map, watching human territory. He noticed something strange. No ships were leaving, but also none were entering. It was sealed. He spoke quietly to the council. This is not fear. This is preparation. Some leaders laughed. They believed humans were hiding, too weak to fight, too scared to respond. The emperor himself was calm. He believed the lesson was clear. Break one small colony, and the rest will obey. That was how it had always worked. But far from the capital, small signs began to appear. A long-range scout ship disappeared near the edge of human space. Then another. No distress signal. No wreckage. Just gone. At first it was ignored. Space is dangerous. Accidents happen. But then a patrol fleet stopped responding. Multiple ships lost at once. This was no accident. A quiet fear started to grow. The Empire sent more scouts. More advanced. More careful. They entered human space slowly. What they found made no sense. Empty systems. Abandoned stations. Cold planets with no life. Everything was gone. It was like humanity had erased itself. But the scan showed something else. Energy traces. Faint but everywhere. Hidden movement. Something was there. Watching. Waiting. One scout captain sent a report. Humans are not running. They are hiding in plain sight. Before he could send more, his ship went silent. Back in the Empire, the reports started to connect. Missing ships. Empty systems. Strange energy signals. The pattern was clear, but no one wanted to say it. Humans were not retreating. They were setting a trap. In the war council, the tension grew. One general spoke with concern. We broke the rules first. Another replied with confidence. Rules do not matter if you win. But deep inside, even they were unsure. Because humans were not acting like any enemy they had faced before. They were not predictable. They were not visible. They were not afraid. Then something happened that changed everything. A deep space listening station picked up a signal. Very weak, very short, but it was human. Only 2 words. We are coming. The message spread quickly. Some thought it was a bluff. Others felt something colder. A warning. The Emperor ordered all fleets to prepare. Defenses were activated across key systems. Massive warships moved into position. Everything was ready. They believed they were in control, but they did not understand. The war had already started. They just could not see it yet. Far beyond their vision. In the darkness between stars, human fleets were moving. Silent. Hidden. Perfectly coordinated. Thousands of ships traveling without light, without sound. No signals. No communication. Only purpose. Each captain already knew their role. Each fleet already had its target. This was not a reaction. This was a plan. A plan built in silence. A plan born from anger. Back in the Empire, one commander looked again at the last human message. We are coming. He felt something he had not felt in a long time. Fear. Not fear of losing, but fear of what was coming. Because for the first time, the alien empire was not facing an enemy that followed rules. They were facing something else. Something patient. Something cold. Something that had been given a reason to fight without limits. And the silence that once felt like victory now felt like a warning. The storm was not forming anymore. It was already there, waiting, and very soon, it would arrive. The first sign was not a sound. It was not an explosion, not a warning, not even a signal. It was absence. A border defense station suddenly disappeared from every system. One moment it was there. The next moment it was gone. No debris, no energy spike, no final message. Just empty space. The Empire thought it was a system error. They reset sensors. They checked coordinates. But the station was truly gone. Then another one vanished. And another. Slowly at first. Then faster. Like something invisible was moving across their borders. Erasing everything in its path. Panic did not spread yet. But confusion did. The Empire sent a full patrol fleet to investigate. Hundreds of ships. Fully armed. Ready for combat. They arrived at the last known location of a missing station. Everything looked normal. Stars were quiet. Space was calm. Too calm. The fleet commander felt it immediately. Something was wrong. He ordered a full scan. Nothing. No enemy ships. No hidden signals. No movement. Just silence. Then one ship on the edge of the formation went dark. No explosion. No warning. It simply vanished. The commander turned quickly, trying to understand. Before he could react, another ship disappeared. Then another. Ships were being removed one by one, like pieces from a board. But no one could see the attacker. Fear started to grow. The commander shouted orders. Spread out. Activate all sensors. Prepare weapons. But it was already too late. Suddenly, the darkness itself came alive. From empty space, human ships appeared. Not jumping in, not arriving with light. They were already there. Hidden. Waiting. Their hulls were dark. Their engines silent. They moved like shadows. And then they attacked. No warning. No signal. Pure destruction. Precision strikes hit critical points. Engines failed. Weapons shut down. Command ships exploded. The alien fleet tried to respond. But nothing worked. Their systems were jammed. Their targeting failed. They could not even see all the human ships. It was chaos. Controlled chaos. One alien officer screamed. This is not possible. But it was happening. Humans were not fighting like any known force. They were faster, smarter, unpredictable. They attacked from angles that made no sense. They disappeared and reappeared. They used the darkness itself as a weapon. The fleet commander tried to regroup. He called for retreat, but the signal never reached the others. Communications were gone. One by one, the ships were destroyed. Some tried to escape. None succeeded. Within minutes, the entire fleet was gone. Only broken metal and silent debris remained. Far away, another system reported the same. Then another. Human attacks were everywhere. Small strikes. Fast strikes. Perfect strikes. They were not taking territory. They were breaking the empire piece by piece. Cutting supply lines. Destroying defenses. Isolating fleets. The empire tried to respond. They sent larger fleets. Stronger ships. But it did not matter. Humans did not fight directly. They chose when to appear, when to strike, when to vanish. Every battle felt one-sided, like the enemy already knew the outcome. Inside the War Council, fear finally became real. Reports kept coming. Lost fleets, destroyed stations, no survivors. One general spoke with a shaking voice. This is not war. This is execution. Another whispered, we cannot see them. We cannot predict them. The emperor remained silent. But even he understood now. This was the cost of breaking the rules. Far in the darkness, a human fleet prepared for the next strike. Their ships waited without light. Their systems quiet. No emotion. No hesitation. Only orders. One commander looked at the battlefield data, then gave a single command. Continue. There was no anger in his voice. No excitement. Only cold certainty. Because this was not revenge anymore. This was a lesson written in silence. A lesson the galaxy would never forget. Humans had entered the war, and they were not here to fight. They were here to end it. The galaxy was no longer calm. Every system felt it. Every species sensed it. Something had changed. This was not a normal war anymore. This was something else. Something uncontrolled. Something terrifying. The alien empire tried to restore order. They gathered their largest fleets. They reinforced their strongest systems. They believed numbers would bring control back. But humans were not fighting for control. They were fighting to break it. In one system, a massive alien fleet waited. Thousands of ships. Heavy weapons ready. Defenses fully active. They were prepared for a direct attack. They wanted humans to face them. To fight in open space, to follow some kind of structure. But humans did not come. Hours passed, then days. Nothing. Some commanders relaxed. They thought humans were avoiding them. They thought fear had returned. But they were wrong. Far beyond sensor range, hidden in deep space, human ships were already in position, watching, calculating, waiting. They did not rush. They did not show themselves. They studied every movement. Every signal, every weakness. Then, without warning, the system lights went out. Power grids across the entire sector failed. Defense systems shut down. Communication channels collapsed. The massive fleet that once looked unstoppable was suddenly blind. Confused voices filled their command channels. What is happening? Who did this? Restore systems now. But there was no answer. Humans had already taken control, not with brute force, but with precision. Their attack did not start with weapons. It started with silence. Then came the fear. Small explosions appeared across the fleet. Not enough to destroy, just enough to damage. Engines stopped. Weapons misfired. Shields flickered. Panic spread quickly. Ships started moving without orders. Formations broke apart. And that was the moment humans were waiting for. From every direction they appeared. Fast, silent, perfect. They did not attack the strongest ships first. They targeted the weak points. Command ships, communication centers, energy cores. Within seconds, the fleet lost coordination. And without coordination, it was nothing. Alien ships fired randomly. Some hit their own allies. Others fired into empty space. They could not see clearly. They could not think clearly. Fear had taken control. One alien captain looked out into the darkness. He could not see the enemy, only flashes of light, and ships disappearing. He whispered quietly, "We cannot fight this. This is not war. This is chaos." But for humans, this chaos was planned. Every movement was calculated. Every reaction predicted. They were not reacting to the battle. They were controlling it. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were happening. Planets lost contact with fleets. Fleets lost contact with command. The Empire was breaking from inside, not because it was weak, but because it no longer understood the enemy. In the Central Command, the leaders argued. Some demanded full retaliation. Others wanted to restore the old rules. But it was too late. The rules were already gone, and humans had accepted that completely. One old commander finally spoke. His voice was calm but heavy. "We taught them the rules, and then we showed them how to break them. Now they're teaching us what comes next." Silence filled the room. No one had an answer. Far away, a human strike group moved toward another target. They passed through debris of destroyed fleets, through silent graveyards of ships. They did not slow down. They did not look back, because this was not about winning battles. This was about ending the war. One system at a time, one fleet at a time, one mistake at a time. And with every passing moment, the alien empire understood something more clearly. They were not losing control anymore. They had already lost it. And the ones who now controlled the war were the ones who never needed rules to begin with. The empire was falling, not in one great battle, not in one final moment, but slowly, system by system, fleet by fleet. Everything they had built over thousands of years was breaking apart. Their strongest defenses had failed. Their greatest fleets were gone. And for the first time, they did not know how to stop it. In the core worlds, panic finally spread. Civilians who once believed in the power of the empire now looked at the stars with fear, because the war was no longer far away. It was coming closer. Reports arrived every hour. Outer systems lost. Supply lines destroyed. Entire fleets missing. No survivors. No signals. No explanation. Just silence. That same silence that humans had shown at the beginning. Now it surrounded the empire, and it was suffocating. In the war council, the leaders were no longer confident. Their voices were lower. Their movements slower. Fear had replaced control. One general stood before the others. His uniform damaged. His face tired. He had survived one of the human attacks. And what he described changed everything. They do not rush. They do not waste time. They already know how we will react. He paused, then spoke again. "We are not fighting them. We are walking into their plan." The room became silent. No one argued, because deep inside they knew it was true. Every move they made, every defense they built, humans had already expected it. It was like fighting an enemy who had seen the future. Desperate for a solution, the Emperor gave a command. Open communication. For the first time since the war began, the Empire tried to speak. A message was sent toward human space. "We request negotiation. We request ceasefire." There was hope, small but real. Maybe the war could end. Maybe humans would accept peace. Hours passed. Then a reply came. Short, cold, Clear. You ended that choice. Fear spread instantly. Some leaders refused to accept it. They sent another message. We surrender. We accept all terms. Just end this. This time the response was slower, as if humans were deciding, as if they were thinking. Then the final reply arrived. Mercy was part of the rules. You destroyed it. After that, nothing. No more messages. No more answers. Only action. Human fleets began moving deeper into core systems. Strongholds that had never been touched were now under attack. Defense platforms activated. Planetary shields raised. But it did not matter. Humans did not attack them directly. First came disruption, power failures, system errors, communication loss. Then came fear. Small precise strikes. Just enough to weaken. Just enough to break order. And then, total destruction. One core system tried to fight back. They gathered everything they had left. Every ship, every weapon, every defense. They believed this would be their stand. Their last chance. When human forces arrived, they did not rush. They surrounded the system slowly, cutting off every escape. No ship could leave. No signal could pass. The system was isolated. Alone. Then the attack began. Not fast, not chaotic, but controlled. Perfect. One layer of defense after another. Gone. Ships tried to fight, but they could not coordinate. Their commands were delayed. Their systems confused. It felt like something was inside their network, guiding the destruction. One by one the ships fell, until nothing remained. Only silence. The same silence that marked every human victory. Far away the Emperor watched the final report. His empire, once endless, now broken. He closed his eyes, not in anger, not in defeat, but in understanding. This was never just a war. This was a consequence. The moment they broke the rules, they created something they could not control, something that did not need rules, something that would not stop, until nothing was left to fight. And now, there is almost nothing left. The empire had fallen, not because it was weak, but because it forgot one simple truth. Some enemies do not fear rules. They wait for them to break. And when they do, they become something far worse than war. They become the end of it. The war was over, but the silence did not end. It spread across the galaxy, deeper than before, heavier than anything that came before it. No fleets moved. No battles remained. No resistance was left. Only empty space filled with the remains of what once was power. The alien empire no longer existed as it once did. Its core worlds were quiet. Its leaders gone or forgotten. Its systems disconnected. What survived was not an empire. Only fragments, scattered and broken. Other species watched from distance. They had seen wars before. They had seen destruction. But never like this. This was not a victory. This was a warning. For a long time, no one entered human space. No one sent signals. No one tried to speak. Fear had created a boundary stronger than any defense. Because now the entire galaxy understood something simple. Humans were not dangerous because of their power. They were dangerous because of how they chose to use it. Time passed slowly. Weeks turned into months. The galaxy began to move again. Trade routes reopened. Ships traveled carefully. Systems tried to rebuild. But nothing felt the same. Every decision was cautious. Every action measured. Because the memory of what happened was still alive. Then one day, a signal appeared. It did not come from the edge of space. It did not come from a hidden fleet. It came from humanity. Clear, open, impossible to ignore. Every system received it at the same moment. Every leader heard the same words. The message was simple. We did not start this war. We did not break the rules. But we finished it. There was a pause, as if the galaxy itself was listening. Then the message continued. If you follow the rules, you will find peace. If you break them, you will find us. No threats, no anger, no emotion, just truth. And that truth was enough. No one replied. No one needed to, because the message was understood by all. Far from the known systems, a small group of survivors from the fallen empire drifted in silence. Their ships damaged, their numbers few, They had escaped the final destruction, but not the memory. One of them played the human message again. He listened carefully, then spoke in a quiet voice. "They are not conquerors." Another answered slowly. "No, they are something else. Something worse. They are what happens when mercy is removed." The ships continued drifting, away from the past, into an uncertain future. Back in human space, there was no celebration, no victory parades, no signs of pride, only order, only control. Fleets returned to their positions. Systems restored their balance. It was as if nothing had happened. But deep inside, everything had changed. Humanity had shown the galaxy what it could become, not out of desire, but out of response. They had answered broken rules with something final. And now they returned to silence, watching, waiting, not for war, but for the next mistake. Because the lesson had been given, clearly, completely, and it would never be forgotten. In the far reaches of space, where no signals reached, where no empires remained, there was only darkness. And in that darkness, a single truth remained. If you fight humans with rules, you may survive, but if you break them, there will be nothing left. Only silence.